Alex here with another review. This time we're taking a look at the RYDEEN PV8-B LCD mirror, which can upgrade the current mirror on your vehicle. LCD mirrors are known to provide a wider view than a standard mirror, and they also have the ability to continue to act as a normal mirror if needed. And on this video, I'm gonna show you how this works and its features of it, including driving video both at day and at night. That way you can decide if upgrading to an LCD mirror is gonna be right for you or not. And as always, I'd like to remind you that I place a link in the description down below to this system if you want to look at it further or acquire one for yourself. And the rear camera features all metal construction. Now this could be mounted on the inside of the vehicle, but this is waterproof, so it could also be mounted on the outside of the car. And for mounting, they included double-sided tape, gets applied right here. I can then peel this back and then attach it to the vehicle. They have also included this mounting wedge, which can give the rear camera a slightly down orientation. However, if you wanted further control of tilt, they have included this little bracket, and with this install, now the rear camera can be fully adjusted as far as moving up or down. And this is what the rear camera extension cable looks like. And for power, they have included a hardwire kit. And this green wire can also enable reverse guidelines, what people know as parking assist, which I'll show you in a little bit. And here's what the main screen looks like. Now I want you to notice one thing that's going to happen, and that is the automatic brightness adjustment. Notice how it brightened up? Well, this can actually also dim at night and brighten itself up again during the day. However, if you want to disable that brightness adjustment, you can tap on this icon and then you can manually blast it or lower that as needed. Now, the other thing you may be wondering is, can I use this as a standard mirror? Well, there is a physical button in the bottom, and tapping that returns off the LCD screen, and notice that now it behaves like a regular mirror. This is a safety feature that LCD mirrors have. That way, if the LCD panel were to fail, you could potentially still use this similarly to a mirror. Also notice that the view is adjustable by swiping on the screen, either up or down, and this works on both sides of the screen. But let's try out parking assist. I'm gonna put the vehicle in reverse. And notice that the view shifted down a little, and we also get reversing guidelines to help us line up, especially against the curve right here. Now also notice what happens when I pull the car out of reverse. The view returns back to the driving view. And here's one big advantage of a small form factor like this, and that is that this is gonna clear the visor of the vehicle. And that is because this is about the size of an OEM mirror. I've seen plenty of times when people upgrade to LCD mirrors, which are much larger than standard mirrors, and then they run into this, where the LCD mirror can conflict with the visor. If you are looking to still use your visor or fully fold them out, a small form factor like this is what you wanna look for. Let's also take a look at the settings menu with this gear icon. First off, we can choose whether we want those parking guidelines to be on or off. And let me show you what it will look like if you turn those parking guidelines off. Again, I'm gonna put the vehicle on reverse. Notice that the view did shift lower, but now we don't get reversing guidelines. So using the guidelines is really a preference. Some people like them, some people don't use them. Let's also take a look at parking line calibration. These things are fully adjustable with this little blue arrow. Notice that I can tap on the left or I can tap right, and it's gonna move those guidelines. And I can also bring them up or bring them down, which is very helpful because these guidelines should really be adjusted depending on the vehicle setup. And if I tap that vertex icon one more time, it moves the arrow to the other side, and same thing, the other side is adjustable. So fully adjustable guidelines are definitely helpful. Once I have the position that I want, I can tap on that save icon, and that is gonna save them onto the mirror. But there's one more customization that could be done with parking guidelines. I'm gonna put the vehicle in reverse, and remember the view shifts down a little. But what if I want the view to shift down quite a bit? Well, I can just swipe on the mirror, and the mirror is gonna remember that position. I'm gonna put the car out of reverse. Notice that it returns to the driving view, but when I put the car back into reverse, it gives me that very low view. Now, it is important to adjust the guidelines on the view that you want, because these guidelines were previously adjusted for the higher view. That's why they no longer match up. So it is important to set the view and then go into the parking line calibration option to make sure that this is gonna line up correctly. And the next option, rear mirror image. allows us to flip the rear camera horizontally. Now you also notice that you do have the same option for the front, and that is because this mirror supports a front camera, which again can also be adjusted as far as the view horizontally. Moving over to the next page of settings, here's where you can select which is the camera that you want to see by default when the vehicle kicks on, either the rear camera, the front camera if it's equipped with one, or both the front and the rear camera at the same time. Next option is language, and we get 4 choices: English, French, Spanish, or Japanese. Now the next option is screensaver. If you wanted the LCD panel to turn off after a certain period of time, you can set that on here either at 1 minute or after 2 minutes, or if you want to keep the LCD panel on all the time, you want to turn off the screensaver. And the next option, reverse trigger enable, is relating to the parking assist function. If you turn this off, you're not going to have parking assist. Turning this on enables parking assist, and turning this guy on, parking line display, is what turns on the reverse guidelines. Moving over to the next page of settings, you get this sound option. Now all it does, it turns on this little beep sound every time you tap on the monitor. And this mirror supports updates, and that is done using the micro SD card bay, and then you would use the system update option. Now if you just want to see what software version you're on, you can tap on firmware version, and that's going to show you that. Well, now that we've seen the features of this LCD mirror, let's take it out for a test ride. That way we can see how well it works both at day and at night. Well, probably one of the best things about the RYDEEN LCD mirrors is the ability to add upgrades to them in the future. The PV8 family, which is both PV8-A and PV8-B, which is this guy right here, support the ability to add side cameras to your vehicle so you can see both out the left or out the right of your vehicle, increasing the visibility and reducing blind spots. This can also be upgraded with the V90 rear camera, which we know this already is going to increase the visibility with the camera that you get. The V90 takes that concept to a whole new level by now increasing the range in the vertical range. So you could potentially see all the way down to the bumper of your vehicle, which should help with backing up. I have reviewed both of those systems, the side camera systems and V90. If you guys want to check those out, I'll put links to those in the description down below. Now I do want to give you a heads up, the PV8-B shares basically the same camera with the PV8-A, and on that rear camera, what I found is that if I'm installing it directly on the vehicle with the double-sided tape, I'm able to apply it directly, not an issue. However, if I want to use the bracket to control the tilt of the camera, that bracket has a little bit of an obstruction as far as the screws that lock down how the camera is tilted. So getting to the screws is a little tricky because of the current obstruction that's located on the rear camera. Not an issue if the camera is going to be mounted directly to the vehicle and no need for tilting, but if you're looking to add tilting to adjust the viewing angle, it gets a little tricky, and there's probably going to be a need for a very tiny tiny screwdriver to get in there to be able to fully tighten that. And on the topic of PV8-A and PV8-B and how they are different from each other, especially if you're trying to decide between them, they're pretty much gonna be the same as far as performance, especially that super high brightness backlight, which pretty much makes this the brightest LCD mirror I have tested on the channel yet. It's really helps to reduce the glare that is inherent on mirror dashcams because they have a glass front and inherently you have glare, so having that super high brightness definitely helps to reduce glare. So what you are left with is gonna be cosmetically, which one is gonna look more attractive to you. I would say take a look at the existing mirror on your vehicle and see if you wanna kind of match that look. That way you can pick between A or B, or see if you wanna go away from the current mirror on your vehicle. If you want something that looks different, then you can pick between the A or the B. You are kind of more comparing it to your existing mirror as opposed to comparing A or B against each other. Again, performance, overall size is pretty much the same. Really, the main difference is the outer bezel and how this looks mounted on your vehicle versus your current rear view mirror. And I have already reviewed the PV8-A. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link to it in the description down below, including a link to the PV8-B if you want to look at it further or acquire one for yourself. If you have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.